Minnesota Daycare desperate for child actors. Yes, once again, it is the Alligator News Roundup. Thanks for joining us in this new year. Plus, private property in New York City is white supremacy. Mamdani takes the Big Apple in a storm of ideas. Maduro leaves Venezuela in a storm of Delta Force. Heroic woman says no to subway video. I have to say, I have enjoyed taking 2 weeks off from writing the A&R probably just as much as you have dreaded facing the weekends without it. But now we're back, so pull yourself together and fortify your mind with righteous thinking. March boldly into the new year that promises even more political, cultural, and technological upheaval than the previous one. Once again, the headlines come fast and furious, so pay attention. Here we go.
Number 5. American Thinker. Craigslist ad crops up in Minnesota recruiting child actors for daycare centers for when state comes in to observe operations.
This has to be a hoax, but given the mentality of someone who spells learning as luring on the sign of his own daycare, maybe it's real. An ad appeared on Craigslist in Minneapolis offering $1,500 per day for child actors who could pose as real clients during an expected review by Health and Human Services. It seems they didn't have any real customers, presumably required to justify the enormous payouts from their fraud scheme, so they turned to the Craigslist reading public to enlist help. No comment on the wisdom of appealing for assistance to those who read Craigslist. The ad copy sounded a little desperate. Our funding was cruelly ripped away without cause. The sentence construction sounded legit, however, given who we are dealing with. To help hurry the state vetting processes, and, quote, if you are interested, unquote. There was also the popular appeal, sure to prompt a compassionate response. It's all due to white supremacy. Okay, so the ad is likely a hoax, and the Craigslist posting has since been taken down. But clever, yes. And by the way, the daycare sign at the Laring Center also misspelled the street address. I know, English is hard, and kudos to those who master it as a second language. But how many L's are really necessary in Nicolette Avenue anyway?
Number 4. Newsweek. Zoran Mamdani's tenant advisor called home ownership white supremacy.
Speaking of white supremacy, that notion has now been institutionalized in Zoran Mamdani's administration in New York City. The incoming mayor appointed one Sia Weaver as director of the mayor's office to protect tenants. In a since deleted, but then resurrected 2019 tweet, Ms. Weaver identified the basic reason why tenants need protecting. It is because home ownership is a weapon of white supremacy. Such antiquated ideas, including the concept of private property, no longer have a place in the city. This is entirely consistent with the new mayor's intent to replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism. No doubt about it, there is a fresh wind blowing through the 5 boroughs. The unveiling of Sia Weaver's tweeted proclamation, which in fact demonstrates that Mamdani's administration has gone full tilt communist without using the word, came at about the same time that Governor Kathy Hochul proclaimed that January is now to be known as Muslim American Heritage Month. The Gov directed that significant landmarks across the Empire State be illuminated with green lights, quote, to honor the contributions, culture, and heritage of Muslim Americans, end quote, and to bring attention to the profound role they have played in shaping the state's civic, cultural, and economic life. Such is the fruit of Islamic progress. Many sites indeed lit up the Manhattan skyline with bright green lights this week. Absent from the display, however, were the North and South Towers of the World Trade Center. Their contribution, and their occupants' costly contribution to Islamic progress having been paid in full some 25 years ago. Incoming Mayor Mamdani was sworn in with his hand on the Quran, the book holy to practicing Muslims worldwide, who generally consider Sharia law as the only righteous way to live, the law of Allah. While Mr. Mamdani has his detractors, there is a long list of important New Yorkers noted in this article for their vocal support of the new Muslim mayor. They include a dozen names, such as Shahana Hanif, Yusuf Salam, and Amira Muflahi. Reading the rest of the list is tedious, but these are notable New York City government and civic leaders, one and all. To this illustrious list of Mamdani cheerleaders, we can add not only Governor Kathy Hochul, but also 2 other outstanding New York women. Executive Interfaith Council member Carolyn B. Sozin, and M-Gage Metro New York Senior Advisor Dr. Debbie Almontazer. The M-Gage Metro New York thing has an interesting website if you care to look it up. It could be pointed out that none of these prominent women would have a snowball's chance in a society dominated by true Sharia law. So, is New York City now Islamic or is it communist? I don't think it can be both. Somebody is going to have to decide.
Number 3. The Gateway Pundit. 32 Cuban security personnel confirmed killed during U.S. operation to extract Maduro from Venezuela.
The astonishingly successful arrest of Nicolas Maduro and his wife from their bedroom in Caracas last weekend was not without bloodshed. While 2 American soldiers are said to have sustained non-life-threatening wounds in the exercise, the result was not quite so happy for Maduro's Cuban security detail. Wait, Cuban? Yes, Cuban. Apparently, Cubans formed the core of the Temple Guard, as it were. It seems they have been deeply involved in the Maduro regime for some time, which could also suggest Maduro is a Cuban puppet. A puppet with lots of oil, but I'm a little out of my depth there. At any rate, it was a bad night for the Cubanos. It seems that 32 were gunned down by American troops. Note that the Cuban house bodyguards were on home turf, familiar with the layout, presumably on the watch for intrusions, because what else would be the purpose of a bodyguard force? The brash, intruding Americans had to fly into the palace from offshore in helicopters, not usually noted for stealth, then rush the palace, find the bedroom, and extricate the targets. Delta Force 32, Cubanos 0. Maybe they should stick to soccer.
Number 2. Fox News. San Francisco establishes $5 million fund for slavery reparations.
The San Fran Board of Supervisors adopted an ordinance this month which established a legal framework for cash reparations to be paid, quote, to individuals who are Black and or descendants of a chattel enslaved person and have experienced a proven harm in San Francisco, end quote. The devil is always in the details. Peeling back the onion of race, how much race? 1/2, 1/4, 1/8, and ancestry. How to prove that great-grandma Mabel was that Mabel and not a different Mabel, and also prove individual harm in the present generation may be a tall order. I sense a new generation of lawyers coming to the rescue, maybe a degree program in American ancestral lawfare. But first, there must be money. In true People's Republic of California style, the Reparations Fund exists only in the words of an ordinance, not in the reality of a bank account. There is no funding mechanism beyond hoped-for private donations, foundations, and other non-city sources. But give it time. Hope springs eternal. One of these days, a San Francisco City ordinance will include subparagraph 12 of Section 13 in Article 9, or some such, allocating an unnoticed percentage of property taxes to the Reparations Fund. And then, let the applications and the lawsuits begin.
Number 1. Cyber News. Enough is enough. Woman hailed for smashing strangers' Meta Ray-Bans.
And at last, some common sense prevails. A man entered a New York City subway wearing his stylish, new, overlarge, horn-rimmed glasses. Created by Meta, they were camera-equipped. A tiny light on the front indicates they were filming strangers. The glasses are incredible. Watch the X video explaining how they work. Through web access of facial recognition and immediate searching of open government databases, individuals filmed can be named to the glasses wearer in real time, along with telephone number, occupation, home address, and other details. Sounds like a great app for facilitating a pickup line in a bar. Hey, aren't you Susie McFrogglestein from over on 32nd Street? I think I knew your brother at Pepperdine. In the subway this week, a female passenger who understood, apparently, the significance of the telltale filming in progress LED walked over to the stranger, snatched his super cool $300 glasses off his face, and broke them in two. Hooray for the unidentified chick. The guy posted a video to TikTok boasting that she would be castigated across the World Wide Web. Instead, TikTokers took her side by the thousands, lauding her as a hero. Maybe there is yet hope for New York City. And thanks for joining the Alligator News Roundup for this first episode of the new year, January 9, 2026. Take heart, you are not alone. That old prophet Malachi, whose short book written 2,500 years ago is strangely relevant today, wrote of his times, "Then those who feared the Lord talked with each other, and the Lord listened and heard." He hears what you say. Hope is yet alive. Have a good weekend.
Thanks for joining us to start the new year off right. When you find an interesting or outrageous news item, forward it to us. We might be able to work it into an episode of the Alligator News Roundup.